So in this video, I'm going to discuss the latest breaking on three of the CBIs, right? Potential CBIs: Albania, Suriname, and Armenia. So those were the three that made announcements earlier, some last year, and wanted to provide the latest breakthrough on what's the status and when you could expect these to launch or not launch in 2023. Before I deep dive into this topic, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on that bell notification so you are immediately notified the moment there's any change in any of the programs. And in case you don't know who I am, my name is Jay, and here we discuss investments that lead to residencies, citizenships, news articles, analysis, latest breakthroughs, and a whole lot more. All right, so typically when, and I'm not saying referencing these three countries, but in general, a lot of countries make announcements. Now, Albania has been talking about this since ages, right? It's been several years, at least 3 to 4 years, that they have always entertained thoughts of starting a CBI program. So they say these things, right? And then there's no draft, there's no further follow-up on that. Now, typically when countries make these announcements, it's also a negotiation point, right? Agencies like the EU and other Western organizations, they don't appreciate or they don't like the CBI programs. They frown upon them. So when these smaller countries are negotiating with these entities, let's say IMF or other organizations, typically they want some bargain power, right? They want some negotiation point. So when they say or talk or entertain thoughts of starting a CBI program, now I'm not saying it's sort of a threat, right? They're not threatening to start this. I mean, they might genuinely in some cases be up for this, but usually they will, that's a tool that's typically used in negotiations. So what happens is, because these agencies don't like all of this, they will typically, counter threaten, saying that, hey, we'll revoke this access. Let's say the Schengen access, we'll take that away if you do this. Or, they might say, hey, you need assistance, so let's negotiate, let's talk about it. So if the countries can demand for more money, for and for legitimate reasons, right? They might need the money for the development. So either they they talk about a CBI program. Now typically that CBI program is very tough to implement because there's not only external pressure, there's also internal pressure from the opposition in that country, who uses that as a talking point to counter the ruling party in most cases. So there's a lot of pressure. So just talking about it is one thing, but actually practically implementing a program is a completely different ballgame altogether. So Albania has been in a lot of talks. The second one was Suriname. In 2022, they boldly announced abruptly that they want to start a CBI program. They really haven't drafted anything to that effect. We haven't seen any draft proposal which talks about the figures, the amounts, when it plans to start it, what's the schedule like, etc. The closest a country came really to this, to launching a new program, was Armenia. Now, they were very serious. They, in fact, went to the length of drafting the price points, right? 150K in real estate, 100K in the IT sector. So they actually drafted a whole lot. So that is the only country that came the closest to actually launching a CBI program. Now with Armenia, they made tight promises, right? So the first quarter of 2023, we were hoping that in January we can see the full draft with the exact details. Now again, implementing this or putting this in law and then actually rolling out the program and inviting applications, etc., is way down the road. The first thing really is creating the final version or getting an approval and then writing or rewriting, updating the rule books. So that is the first step. Now that has not happened in January. We're looking at end of February. Nothing's happening. So the chances are that Armenia, again, as they said, as they promised, I don't see that happening on the timeframes. Regarding Albania, I personally don't feel, and this is not immigration or legal advice, but I personally don't feel that Albania could be starting anytime soon, just based on where they stand at this time. There was even El Salvador president, right, who made very bold statements. He came up and defined 3 Bitcoins gets you something. Now, there was confusion whether it was a residency or a citizenship. So it turned out that it was about the residency. But then later part of 2022, he came back saying, it would be a citizenship, and further details to be announced very shortly. But that really didn't go anywhere. We haven't heard anything after that. So that program again stalled where it is. And then the point is, a lot of these talks have to be taken with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's a negotiation tactic, and I'm not specifically referencing these countries that are doing that. I'm saying in general, countries tend to do that. Use that as the negotiation or the talking point when they're dealing with, let's say, the EU, the IMF, other external entities who frown upon them starting such programs. So based on the deals, they might get some cut, they might get some funding for whatever legitimate reasons that they need, which really works out to their benefit. So for the CBI community, the programs that are there at this point are the ones which are defined, are there. If you're waiting and thinking that 2023, I'm going to park my capital, I'm going to save aside some capital to start a new citizenship program, a lot of these countries are going to come up. Well, you got to be realistic. At this point in time, Albania, I feel, nope, 2023 is too early for anything on that front. Again, if there's any change or any movement, I will be the first one to break it. So, as long as you're subscribed and turned on that bell notification, you will get notified of any change on that front. Suriname, absolutely not. I don't think 2023 we can really expect anything out of Suriname unless they drastically define a law and come up with it, which I don't see happening. Regarding Armenia, there's a slim chance that they might, get more information out, let's say, in the later half of 2023. But again, if I were a betting man, I would not bet on that program starting completely in 2023 either. But if I had to pick one out of the 3, Armenia is the closest to starting a citizenship by investment program. Exact dates, again, no one can predict that. High chances that it might not start, but there's good chances that by the mid of 2023, we might hear some more information coming out of Armenia. All right, now in case in the meanwhile, if you want to get started with any of your residencies or other citizenships that are available, or you want to have a strategy discussion, you know what to do. Click that link in the description, book a call with us. We can discuss your circumstances and we can figure out what is the best residency choice in your case. All right, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and catch you in the next one.